Let's start with this sense of checking in. We notice that we're here. We notice what's going on. When we're caught up with thoughts in the mind, we think about what's going on in our body, but we don't feel it as much. On an overall basis, like a big picture basis, what's the energy that I'm bringing into this moment in time? One of the ways that we check in with ourselves is what's happening in our thought stream. If we're having a lot of worry about something, then that would probably indicate that we're dealing with something that we're uncertain about. The outcome is uncertain. And we also have a lot of communication in our body from sensations and energy. So that's what we're also exploring right now in this moment. This is what I feel overall, but also this is specifically what I feel in my body. What is my body trying to communicate with me? In our culture, we're not really encouraged to pay attention in our body. I think about my life, but I don't have very good access to how I feel in my body. So, these practices that we do on an ongoing basis of tuning into our breath, of noticing where we're holding ourselves tightly, of connecting with ourselves somatically in our body, are really helpful as a foundation for more nervous system regulations. We're not as likely to be off in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses if we're present in our body. They're also a way to learn how to listen. So that's what we're working with today, is learning how to listen to the nonverbal communication that's always coming from our body. Start by checking in with the position of your body. Are you comfortable? Are you noticing that you're supported right now? Let your body be supported by the chair or whatever that might be. And we might move around a little bit, get more comfortable. Now we could also notice our breath. So as we're breathing out, there's that natural inclination of the body to soften. We could help that along through mindfulness, noticing. Quite often, when we're checking in with our breath, we notice that we're not breathing with enough volume. So we could take a few deeper breaths, perhaps. And notice that your body is in a location. There's a space that your body occupies. We can tune into our body through our sense perceptions. So if you were to bring your hands onto your heart or your chest or hold your own hands, we can feel our connection. So we have those sense perceptions, and then we also might have interior perceptions like digestion. We can feel the air in the nostrils as we breathe. These are all autonomic processes in the body. So, in that space that our body is occupying, there are some things that are physical in nature, like digestion. And in this very same space, there is very likely sensation that's not physical. Sometimes we'll play around with this a little bit. So if you think about a really wonderful experience you've had or a person you really care about, it will often bring a sense of softness into our body and also maybe a sense of warmth into the chest. And that might be quite subtle in terms of a sensation, or it might be a little bit more intense or get our attention more. If we really tune in and think about somebody that makes us smile, we can notice that there's a certain shape to that energy. One of the things about sensations is that they don't go on into infinity. Most sensations taper off. So we might have a sensation that's kind of strong in the center, and then as it tapers off, it gets less and less intense. So it kind of softens or starts to kind of evaporate. Whatever it is you're feeling in your body, if it's that warmth in your heart or if it's something else that's here, notice the size of it. Some sensations really feel like they're this little thing in the middle of my gut, for instance. Others feel more expansive. That warmth in your heart goes out to the edges of your body and out into space around your body a bit. So we can notice the space in front and back and to the sides of the sensation. We can also notice what's above the sensation and what's below the sensation. If we're using that example of what's going on in the heart, as you're thinking about somebody that you care about, is it kind of localized in the chest? Does it go up into your throat, into your mouth, into your head? And you feel that sensation down into your arms or hands, down into your gut, your feet. It's interesting to look at from that perspective. I'm just describing the sensation like I would to a scientist. And some other things we could look at are, is it moving or is it still? Sensations that seem to move in our body seem a bit more alarming. So as you're doing this, notice what else is here. So instead of now deliberately evoking a positive sensation, you were to put that aside and maybe bring something forward that you're worrying about. Notice what shifts. So maybe that warmth in the heart area went away and something new came in. Often we feel a sense of dread, maybe in the heaviness of the chest or in the back of the neck, shoulders, upper back. It might be a feeling of we bracing ourselves or our physical body's getting tight, but there's that energetic component to it as well. Notice what happens and how interesting it is that it shifts when we think about something lovely compared to thinking about something we're worrying about. Remain aware that you're witnessing something that's going on in your body. And again, notice the size, the location. Does it taper off at the edges? Does it go a little bit outside of your body? And what's happening right above and right below the sensation? Maybe now the sensation's moved up into your throat or down into your gut. So notice again where the sensation is and where it is not. At some point, the sensation is not there anymore. You notice what's happening in your mind. Did your mind drift off? Did it get involved in some train of thought? So sometimes we'll ask our body to let us know a little bit more about that sensation. Like, why is that sensation here? And we listen. Sometimes our mind will try to figure it out. Well, it's because of this and this, and I know what that's all about. And that could be true. We have a lot of familiarity with our sensations. If you were to approach that fresh right in this moment, whatever sensation it is that you're working with, notice the location, the edges, all of that stuff. Is it moving or is it still? And then sit with being open to knowing a little bit more about it. Why did this particular sensation show up? Is it familiar? A lot of the sensations in our body are very familiar, perhaps felt them since we were a child. But certainly when we get worried about something, or there's all kinds of things that are going on in our experience in life, the sensations that are with that tend to be familiar. Is this a familiar sensation? And is it okay that it's here? If it's intense, it's painful, it's kind of taking over, it's grabbing our attention, we don't really want it to be here. So we could notice, instead of pushing it away, could we bring it in a little bit closer? And one of the ways to do that might be to see if you could put your attention right in the very center. So, if you're working with feeling in your throat, for instance, could you put your attention in the very middle of that sensation? What's it like from the inside? And continue to notice the space around the outside edges. Does that sensation go up or down in your body? Or is it pretty localized in that one area? Continue to notice your breath, your body. We're doing a somatic inquiry. We're looking to see what comes up in our body and also in thoughts in the mind and feelings, emotions when we tune in to the sensation in our body. And there's no right or wrong. We're really just looking to see what's here. And sometimes the answer to why it's here will come in as a thought. Sometimes it will come in as a sense of an age. We store trauma in our body along with associated thoughts, memories. So, if that's what this is, then we might have some of those memories come up. And if that's happening, then we need to be using some practices to stay grounded. We want to be able to be here and not push it away. And we also don't want to go back into a reenactment of whatever it is. Right now, in this moment, remain aware that you're here. You could open your eyes, look around a bit. That memory came up of when I was in grade 7, and I opened my eyes and I can see that I'm not in that classroom anymore. Those people are probably not even in my life anymore. But it's a memory that's come up, and oftentimes it's a memory of feeling hurt or scared. That we could allow ourselves to have these things moving through our body, these memories that are coming up at times. We remain anchored in this moment in time. One of the ways to stay as a witness is to notice that there's space on the outside of the sensation. That's very helpful to keep coming back to. So, if the sensation's in our throat, does it go out into the screen ahead of us? Does it go up into our eyes? Does it go down into our toes? Usually, there's some place in our body where we don't feel that anymore. Another thing that sometimes happens is that people might have an image of the sensation. If you have sensation in your throat, you might have a sense of something kind of closing in, that it's a little bit hard to breathe, for instance, which is quite alarming. One of the things we could do is notice that, in fact, my breath is still getting through. There's a sensation in my throat, and my breath is still getting through. It's not affecting that. And maybe there's an image of something that represents that sensation. Some people have that, some people don't. But if you do, you could work with it like any image, put it in a frame on the other side of the room. Have a look and see, okay, there's colors and shapes in that image. It's over there, it's in a frame. If it feels kind of intense, you could do the rest of that practice. Take your eyes around the empty space, start at the top, go around one side, down through the bottom, up the other side, and do that a couple of times in each direction, just with that image of the sensation. That helps our body, our brain to know that it's not real. That image isn't actually hurting us. It's an image of a sensation that's in our body. We could do a practice of welcoming the sensation. These sensations are part of us, and they might not be the most welcome part of our experience. If there's some kind of negative thoughts associated with it, or if it's a bit scary, if it feels kind of threatening or heavy in our body, oftentimes we'll want it to not be here. And it is here. So, could we allow that and soften into that? You could put your hand on that part of your body if you wanted. You're welcome to be here. I'm able to stay present and breathe. I'm here in this moment. I know that. If it gets too much, I can open my eyes. I can stop the practice. I can pull back a little bit, notice again the space around the energy. And I'm interested in knowing, why is this energy here? And is it okay to be here? Is it okay with me that I have this energy arising in my body right now? Take a few deeper breaths. Let your body soften a bit. And we can always come back into awareness of our physical body. And we know where the edges of our body are. We can feel that through our sense perceptions, especially if we move a bit. You can bring your attention to the soles of your feet. Maybe you're lying down and you can feel it through the whole back. And we have those physical sensations, our sense perceptions. We have other kinds of sensations in the body, like digestion and the way our body moves as we breathe. And often when we tune in, we realize we have sensation, feelings, energy that are not those other things. They're not sense perceptions, they're not physical processes. It's energetic. As you're aware of the space that your body is occupying, notice that there's a lot here. There's all these levels. We might have a sense of our overall body, of the whole of our back body, for instance, going from the back of the head, neck, and shoulders through the upper back, mid back, down through the back of the arms and legs, in the front of our body, through the forehead, eyebrows, eyes, mouth and jaw, the front of the neck, the sides of the neck, down through the chest, the belly, the front of the arms and legs. Do we know where our top is, the top of our head? We know where our bottom is, the soles of our feet. We know where the front of our body is and the back is. And then this mysterious energy in the middle. We can remain as a witness to that energy and a welcoming witness. We actually do want to know, what's going on in my body? What is my body signaling me? What does it want me to know? And over time, as we do this, we build confidence that we're not on our own with this. It's not some alien energy that's come in to torture us. It's not that at all. It's something that's arising in our experience, and we can be present with that. To get to know ourselves on the energy layer as well as the thought layer. You might finish with a few deeper breaths. Let yourself kind of notice that you're here. We're coming to the end of the practice. That we come in and we do these practices as a way to regulate our nervous system, as a way to get ourselves into more of a connection, to feel more connected with ourselves. And working in the body like this is a rich field of exploration. So it's wonderful that we can do that.